pray. Heavenly Father, your majesty is all around us tonight in the beauty of these hills and the beauty of that sunset. Lord, we pray that it would be in the beauty of this game and the hearts of these parents who love these kids, and in the sportsmanship and conduct of all the athletes out there tonight. We pray that it would honor and bring you glory. We thank you for this school. We thank you for Moorpark and the blessing that in this country we can freely enjoy this evening's festivities. Thank you. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star from Griffin Stadium on campus at Moorpark College. It's Kent Brown and George Contreras here for a big Camino League showdown tonight as the Grace Brethren Lancers host the Moorpark Musketeers. Both teams come in 5-2 and 5-1. The Musketeers 1 loss on the season. The Lancers 2 losses, George, both by 4 points and 3 points. So narrow losses, a bunch of blowout victories on both ends. We've gotten to see Moorpark just a couple weeks ago. They have a very impressive offense, but Grace Brethren kind of does it old school. Tight ends, running backs. You want to run the football, not the typical spread we see on most Friday nights.
Right. Coach Henderson, the head coach for Grace Brethren, played for Fontana High School back in the days when Dick Bruick was the head coach down there. And those teams in Fontana in the 70s and 80s were noted for being hard-nosed, physical football teams. Coach Henderson has brought that philosophy with him to Grace Brethren. And he told me that their goal every week is to be the most physical team on the field in all 3 phases. So they're going to get after you. Again, they are doing something that I really like seeing today. I think it's a very smart move by their coaching staff in more or less skipping a cycle where everybody now is in wide open spread type offenses. They're going back to a totally different philosophy. 2 tight end, 2 running backs. Run the football with a powerful running back and cause teams a lot of problems in terms of preparation when you only have 4 days to prepare for a totally different style of game.
And when you look at these two teams, it's a sophomore second-year starter for Grace Brethren and a junior second-year starter in Blake Sturgill for Moorpark. Moorpark will kick it short, and it goes out of bounds at the 35. So good field position will be starting for the Grace Brethren Lancers. And Mikey Zelli, he's the starting quarterback. He's a sophomore. And Lontrell Diggs, the running back, who's a senior, he's a low-gravity guy, 225, maybe even 230 pounds, about 5'8". They are going to run the football with him, and they love this sophomore Zelli and what he brings to the table.
Right, he started for them all last year as a true freshman, led them to a CIF championship. As far as Diggs, watching him on film this week over at Grace Brethren, you rarely see the first guy that hits and make the tackle. He runs through people. He's a load to bring down. Now, even though we all are thinking that they are a run type football team, they did get two players who are wide receivers, Brandon Agassi and Nate Bennett, who were transfers from other schools who became eligible for the first time last week against Bishop Diego. So now with two improved targets at wide receiver, and this really helps them in terms of depth because their former wide receivers are their starting cornerbacks.
They want a lot of guys to go one way tonight, not a lot of two-way players. On the first carry of the game, it goes to Danny Witt. Witt gets 7 yards, and it will be second and short, upcoming near midfield. This Grace Brethren offense, as we mentioned, a lot of running so far in the season. The 5 offensive linemen they love, 3 senior starters, a sophomore at left guard, and then the junior Fal Taivai leading off and anchoring that offensive line. Top starters, we mentioned Nate Bennett and Agassi, Luke Stewart, Peyton Gorley will be in the mix at receiver, and then a lot of Diggs and Witt in the backfield. 2nd and 3. Only one wide receiver. The handoff goes up the middle. It's a first down past midfield after the initial hit right at the line of scrimmage. Move forward about 4 yards, and Witt, for the second time tonight, a good run.
Yes, the thing that Moorpark was very concerned about talking to Coach Huizinga is what we're seeing right now. The ability that Grace Brethren has to just grind the ball down the field. They feel that they have to slow them down and get them off of these second and short kind of situations. As good as their offensive line is, the key guy to watch here, I think, is guard Jay Toya for the Grace Brethren Lancers. Only a sophomore, but he's already committed to USC.
Yeah, Toya looking very good so far on the season. This will be the first handoff for the tailback, Lontrell Diggs. Diggs picks up 3 yards, 2nd and 7. And these are the only two teams in Camino League play as of now with a win. Camarillo has not played a league game yet. These teams are both 1-0 in league play. Bishop Diego and Thousand Oaks lost to these two respective teams in their last game. So the winner of this game definitely stays right at the top of the league standings.
Right. These 3 top teams, Grace Brethren, Moorpark, and Camarillo, are very good football teams. And you still can't count out Bishop Diego. They're a good football program that won a state championship last year.
2nd and 7. It's Diggs up the middle, untouched until we cross the 40-yard line down to the 36. It's a pickup of 9 and 4 runs to start the game, all of which for positive gains and another first down. And as you said, the clock keeps moving, they keep running, and they're going between the tackles every time.
The two of the keys of this game for Grace Brethren and their coach believe we have to be physical, and so far they are physical. Defensively for Moorpark, we have to stop this grinding type action, and they are not. Right now, the Lancers are inserting their will.
1st and 10, Diggs goes off the right side. He stood up after about a gain of 5. The tackle coming in and making the play for the Moorpark Musketeers. It was Ian Meyer from the strong safety position making that play. Grace Brethren in the all-black with the red numbers, and Moorpark with the traditional yellow helmets, white jerseys, and yellow pants. So numbers, as we set up here in the press box, definitely you prefer white on black in terms of the numbers, but they're trying to go for the good look. An Under Armour team looking the part here tonight with the chrome helmets. On 2nd and 7, the handoff goes up the middle for a short gain, probably the shortest gain we've seen all night. Trenton Gill, the senior, gets the carry, and that time it wasn't the lead back, it was actually the fullback getting it.
Speaking of the helmets that Grace Brethren is sporting, in a bid to really look at player safety, they have gone out and bought almost the entire team has the Vixus helmet, which is a new helmet on the market. It costs about $1,000 a helmet. And they've outfitted their kids with that, trying to, again, do whatever they can to avoid the concussion issue that's so prevalent today in football.
3rd and 4, ball on the 30-yard line. The handoff goes up the middle, and it's Lontrell Diggs between the tackles again. He's close to the first down marker, appears to be maybe not the nose of a football short, and it will be 4th and inches, awaiting the Grace Brethren Lancers. They are coached by Josh Henderson. We'll see his son on the defensive side playing middle linebacker, and for Moorpark, coached by Ryan Huizinga.
Yeah, the Lancers on that last play, 2 tight ends, triple stack I formation, very familiar with people from the Inland Empire. Don Markham, his Colton offenses. Here they are again, same formation.
4th and inches, the first down is Diggs. Diggs goes towards the right side of the line, easily picks it up, and whether it's left, center, or right, This team has a lot of faith in all of the offensive line. And when you throw in the tight ends and you do that old Maryland eye, as I know it's commonly referred to.
Yeah, Tom Nugent.
You
back
just
in the day.
follow your lead blockers, hope to see a seam, and pick up the short yardage, especially 4th and inches. You don't need all 30. You pick up 6 or 7 there, it's more than fine.
Yeah, again, when you have a big offensive line, these are things that offensive linemen love to do. Very impressed by the offensive line coach at Grace Brethren and what he was doing with his kids in practice Wednesday when I was there.
1st and 10. Diggs in the red zone. Diggs trying to battle towards the 10. Gets up to the 11-yard line. Another first down, a gain of 12. And that time, Moorpark, a shoestring tackle by Ian Meyer. If he doesn't get him, Diggs probably goes the distance. 1st and 10 from the 11. Another solid carry for the senior tailback, Lontrell Diggs.
It's hard to believe that Grace Brethren only 8 or 9 years ago was playing 8-man football. The job that Coach Henderson and his staff have done here, transforming it to an 11-man program and then a quality 11-man program, has been something really to see.
2 wide receivers at the top of your screen on the wide side are Bennett and Stewart. The handoffs to Diggs. Diggs goes that left side, using the space on the wide side, and now the ball is down inside to about the maybe 2-yard line. They're going to call him down at the 1. So Lontrell Diggs continues to grind for yardage, and now it will be appears to be just short of the first down marker, so 2nd and inches from just outside the 1.
You look for Diggs to get this ball here again. Diggs, the thing I've been very impressed by him in watching the film, the first tackler never gets him. He might slow him down a little bit for the 2nd and 3rd guy to get there, but he's going forward. Here back in the triple stack I with 2 tight ends.
The handoffs to Diggs. Diggs going near the goal line, appears to be stuffed short, and now with second effort, crosses the white stripe, and it is a touchdown for Grace Brethren. A great opening drive down the field in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. We are nearing the midway point of the quarter. Grace Brethren all running, all ground game, no negative or even gains, and they cross the goal line on the 1-yard touchdown.
This is just picture-perfect Grace Brethren football. This is what Coach likes to do. But they will throw the football. You mentioned this quarterback, Zelli, is a sophomore with a whole year starting experience last year on the CIF championship team, as we mentioned. He will throw the football, but he's a team guy. He will do whatever it takes to win, and I think now that they've established their basic character, don't be surprised if they start using their wide receivers a little bit more here in the next series to open things up. Mentioned in talking to Coach that he feels that they come into every game with 4 distinct offensive concepts, and they feel that none of them are very complicated, but they feel they have these 4 different concepts that they can use in a game as needed. And again, don't be surprised if they don't go to the pass. If they say, you know what, if we can run you over, we'll run you over and we'll be home by 8:30 and
isn't it one of those, you're a former defensive coach, you watch this, you have to feel like you need the offense to change what they're doing. If the offense keeps doing what they're doing well, why go away from it? Especially no penalties on that drive and no negative gains. If you run the football and you limit those 2 things, you're going to be in good shape.
Sometimes you get offensive coordinators that feel that they have to be creative. You know, again, if they can't stop it, why change? So we'll see how this progresses and see how Moorpark reacts here.
Grace Brethren takes a 7-0 lead from Moorpark College, the Griffin Stadium, home of Moorpark. And this was a short kick to about the 26-yard line, return for a few yards up to the 39-yard line. And Moorpark will start off at the 29, and it will be Blake Sturgill. This is a kid who's had an amazing year so far for Moorpark this season. The Westlake game, they were shut out. That was a game that they needed to refocus. They came back strong since, and they've been on a roll. And Sturgill, from the start of the season till now, has been outstanding.
On offense, Moorpark's coaching staff feels they have to score on every drive. They have to take advantage because they know, given the way that the Grace Brethren people use the clock offensively, they're not going to get many possessions. They might only get 3 or 4 possessions and a half.
Limited possessions do change the way you have to call the game offensively, and you need to be sharp. Again, we'll see penalties. If penalties set you back, that could be a killer. Powell on the first down, picked up 3 yards, 2nd and 7. For Moorpark, their standout performer, Drake London, the senior USC commit, the 2-sport basketball and football star. The handoff goes to Powell, and nothing doing on 2nd down, maybe a gain of 1. And there were a couple linebackers coming up and making the play for the Lancers. And Skidmore, Gill, and then Stanley Taufu on the defensive end with the stop, and now it is 3rd and 6, awaiting the Musketeers.
Okay, Stanley Taufu, who made that tackle, defensive end for the Grace Brethren Lancers, keep your eye on him. He's a senior. He's committed to go to USC next year. Last year as a junior, he was the CIF's Division VIII Defensive Player of the Year, so he's a good one. Big, strong athlete.
3rd and 6. Grace Brethren with the early 7-0 lead. Camino League game, a showdown at Moorpark College. Musketeers on 3rd down. It's a dump-off pass to Powell. The defense attempts to tackle him before the markers, but Powell's able to move his momentum forward, get past the sticks, picks up 7.5, and it's a 1st down for the Musketeers. Powell with a big play there, catching it, turning upfield, and not getting tackled on first contact.
Great play by him, a senior leader. He's got to have a good game tonight for them to be in this ball game, and he just escaped a potential sack and made a nice play. A lot of composure on that play.
Blake Sturgill, the signal caller, a lot of Alec Powell, Ian Meyer, the change of pace back, and then 4 very good receivers, London, Cronquist, Matico, and Milton. It is going to be a pass to Drake London, the Trojan commit. London takes it for 17 yards, move the sticks, another 1st down, and the Musketeers are in plus territory for the first time tonight.
And tonight, London has to have a big game. He's a big-time player. They need to get as much mileage as possible out of that young man. And in a game like this, and right now this is a good offensive series so far. This is the kind of answer that Moorpark needs to that grinding Lancer offense.
1st and 10, Musketeers ball on the Lancers 42, and we mentioned Taufu earlier as a guy that's aggressive and will get in the backfield. This time Stanley Taufu jumps the start, and it will be 5 yards tacked off and 1st and 5 for the Musketeers.
Mention the Lancers defense. They have 2 all-CIF linebackers playing. Josh Henderson, who's the son of the head coach, who's playing with a broken rib, has been doing that since the first game of the season, and Justin Skidmore, who's their leading tackler. Those 2 kids have been playing linebacker together since they were 8 years old in Pop Warner when the Henderson family moved to Simi Valley.
Blitz coming up the middle. It is picked up nicely, and London has it on the left side. Part of me, that is going to be...
and got lucky there.
Not London. It is actually... I believe, was it Ferrito on the outside?
Again, he fumbled the ball there at the end, and Moorpark was able to recover. That's one of the other players hustling there, made a nice recovery.
It was actually Jake Matico, the senior wide receiver, with the reception on the outside. So Matico, Cronquist, and Milton at the top of your screen, and London on the wide side of the field at the bottom. They are going to play man coverage on Drake London. That was a nice catch by Matico for the 1st down, and Moorpark did recover. Scrambling to his left is Sturgill. Throws it near the sideline, and it is complete. London catches it at the 11-yard line. They might even signal at the 10. They needed to get to the 9 for a 1st down, but it looks like a pickup of about 9.5. And how about that grab by Drake London, going down, catching the ball, and keeping it from hitting the ground.
There wasn't a great throw by Sturgill, who I've been very impressed with in the games we've seen him play. But sometimes your receiver has to come up with a catch like that. And London being a USC commit, that's a play he should be making and did make.
2nd and 1. Single back, 1 tight end. They go 3 wide. Alec Powell is the tailback. The handoff goes to Powell. Kicks it off to the right side. Now cuts back towards the 10. Loses about 2 yards. And that time the defensive front won the battle of the line of scrimmage. Forced Powell outside, never gave him the edge, and then closed quickly for the tackle for loss. And instead of it being 2nd and inches, it's now 3rd and 3.
And the players that have to really hold up here are the 2 offensive tackles for Moorpark. One of them is Jonah Monheim, number 79, who's a junior, and their longtime excellent offensive line coach, John Kidder, feels that Jonah is the best junior he's ever coached in terms of his technique at that stage of his development. The other one's a senior, Tyler Clark, who's a 3-year starter. They've got their hands full with these 2 defensive ends.
3rd and 3, ball on the 12. It is Sturgill moving to his right. He has the 1st down and then steps out of bounds.
Good move. Again, protect yourself. You play another game. Again, they're going to have to keep mixing things up between run and pass, drop back pass, roll out passes. They have to move the pocket just to keep the defensive rush kind of guessing just a little bit and help their linemen out to some degree. But this has been a very good, solid drive. They've moved the ball consistently, taken advantage of a penalty in the series by the Lancers. But they do need to get points out of this thing.
Both offensive lines looking very good in the early going here tonight. 1st and goal, ball on the 8. Powell's the running back. Powell gets it. He cuts to the right, and is once again stacked up at the line of scrimmage. And this defensive front is done. I know they've moved the ball downfield, but inside the tackles, they've done a good job of stopping the run. It's when they've bounced outside is when they've made plays.
They're basically doing a very nice job of reestablishing the line of scrimmage about a yard across the line in the offense's backfield. The three defensive linemen for Grace are doing a fantastic job right now.
Now they'll move all three wide receivers to the bottom of your screen. It's going to be Sturgill moving to his left. Sturgill fires to Cronquist. Cronquist puts the ball over the pylon and scores the touchdown from 7 yards out. Noah Cronquist, the senior, catches it, turns it upfield, and gets that ball over the pylon, and we are a PAT away from tying this game up.
Exactly what they needed. Moorpark, again, according to their coach, Ryan Huizinga, they have to take advantage of every single possession. They certainly did. They're very impressive opening drives by both clubs. Now the problem is going to be, or the thing to see, is how are they going to counter? They've seen what the basic game plan is coming in by the opponent. How do we counter this? What adjustments do we make here from this point on?
Christian Mancuso is the kicker. Snap back, hold down, and kick is through. And we are locked up at 7-7 here with just 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. We do want to remind you, today's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. Also, Ventura Orthopedics is proud to support the collegiate and high school athletic teams in the community. The doctors serve as team physicians for most of the high school and college sports programs in the area. Whether assisting with game injuries or cheering for players from the sidelines, the doctors at Ventura Orthopedics consider it a privilege to be part of the team.
And we'll see how the Musketeers kick off this time. That last one that went out of bounds really set up Grace Brethren in great field position.
Yeah, it started at the 39-yard line. This one's a short kickoff to the 25. It is not out of bounds. An up man gets it and is driven out at the 30-yard line. So great coverage, even though it was a short kick. Not bad field position by any means, but 9 yards short of where they were to start the opening possession.
I think if you recall back to a couple weeks ago when we saw them play Simi Valley had some great kickoff returns. So there might be some concern on the part of the Moorpark coaching staff that the return people from Grace Brethren are quality returners, and that they have had some problems covering kicks in the back in the past. So these pooch kind of kicks, so long as they stay inbounds, are not bad ways to eliminate a big return.
Mikey Zelli, the sophomore quarterback, did a very good job in the first possession of making sure his running backs get the ball and then the ground game's going. It will be another bunch formation, only one wide receiver to the top of your screen. The handoff goes inside to the fullback, and it's going to be a pickup of 5, 2nd and 5, and that's a good gain on first down. And again, we do want to keep emphasizing, as long as they're picking up positive yardage and there's no penalties, there's no reason to put the ball in the air as of now. Force the defense to prove you can stop your best way of scoring.
Well, one of the things off that dive, they give an option look off that dive, and I didn't see anybody on the quarterback look for that to happen here soon, I would guess.
Same formation, Montreal Diggs and Danny Witt. It's Diggs getting the carry on 2nd and 5. Diggs cuts past the 40 up to the 44, a gain of 12. And that's the third time tonight that Lontrell Diggs has picked up more than 10 yards on a carry. He had the 1-yard score, but he's done a really good job of picking up big yardage every time he's touched it nearly.
And talking to Coach Henderson, Diggs is one of those kind of players that the farther you get into the game, the better he gets. He just kind of wears down defenses. One of the kids that is going to be that's playing tonight for Moorpark at linebacker is what's his first name here? Let me find that. Jager Hoffman. Jager Hoffman's a very good football player with great bloodlines. His father, Dave, was a member of the 1991 University of Washington National Championship team, Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12.
They're going to air the ball out on 1st and 10, and it is caught near the sidelines inside the 20, and that time it was Nate Bennett on the catch. It's 36 yards. It was placed perfectly from Mikey Zelli, and then Nate Bennett gets a toe in, keeps control of the football, make it to the 19-yard line. That is officially a pickup of 35 yards.
Nate Bennett is one of those two transfer receivers who became eligible last week after the CIF's mandatory sit-out period. A good weapon to have, needless to say.
The first pass attempt, and it is for the largest gain of the game here tonight. 1st and 10, it's Diggs. Diggs goes right through that left guard and center A gap, and it's a good gain of about 4 on first down.
Getting back a little bit to the Moorpark linebacker, number 33, Jager Hoffman. He's considered one of the big leaders of their team, but he has missed quite a bit of the season. He had a small stress fracture in his foot and in his leg, I should say, and has come back from that. Again, he should be a key player tonight for the Musketeer defense.
Clock is winding down under a minute. The handoff goes to Diggs again. Diggs gets to the 11. It will be second and a short 2. I should say third and a short 2 upcoming as the clock now winds under 30 seconds. Grace Brethren doesn't need to snap it to end this quarter if they don't want to, but so far Zelli is taking his time. Now he's going back into the huddle. Right now we've had one possession apiece. Both teams have scored. Clock winds under 15 seconds left in the quarter. 3rd and 2. Zelli under center. Hands it off to Diggs. Diggs has the first down up to the 8-yard line. Needed to, gets about 2.5. And now there's a late penalty flag thrown right where the tackle happened here on the bottom of your screen. And the officials will discuss what the penalty flag is.
Yeah, nice tackle by number 22 for Moorpark.
Personal foul on the defense. So this comes post-play. There's 1 second left in the quarter. I think the clock will 1.5 seconds left. It will be 1st and goal. So instead of it being on the 8, it now will be half the distance to about the 4-yard line. And a good run by Diggs. That time, not a ton was given to him, and he still made one guy miss. As you mentioned, George, never going down on first contact. Needed 2, picked up 2.5. They're going to wind the clock, and that will end the first quarter. It is 7-7 apiece, and both offenses have done exactly what we thought and what the coaches want them to do.
Yeah, they are both performing at a very high level. Right now, Moorpark has no answers for this power running game. They are ripping off 4, 5, 6 yards a carry, which is definitely not what the Moorpark staff wanted to see. So it's going to become really, really important here if this continues. Who can stop who for the first time? Who can make the other team blink? And if you can do that, it's one of those things where if you can stop Grace Brethren perhaps once each half, that might be enough to win the game. Again, Moorpark, I should say, Grace Brethren plays low-scoring games by and large. They are right now they're just happy to grind it out and keep going in that vein. Part of this tonight, one of the advantages that Moorpark has is they have a little bit more depth than Grace Brethren. Grace is using a lot of their players who normally go both ways or just going one way tonight with the idea of staying fresher. We'll see how that pans out as the game goes along. But right now, offensively, they look pretty dynamic.
They look the part, positive gains pretty much throughout that first quarter. And it also not just physically wears you down, but mentally.
Oh, absolutely.
It wears you down throughout the game where you're saying, not again. We have to go try to stop them again on the run with these punishing offensive linemen.
Do you think Diggs is going to get the ball here?
I would say it's likely. Him or Witt, at least. On first down, it is Diggs. Diggs goes right up the middle, walks into the end zone, stays on his 2 feet. And for the second time tonight, Lontrell Diggs with a touchdown. This one opens the second quarter, 6-point lead for the Lancers.
The thing that's disappointing that mentally is that he just walked into the end zone. That it was a play up the middle, and it was so well blocked. Again, I cannot tell you how impressed I was by the job that the coaching staff at Grace Brethren does with their offensive line and their techniques. They are very, very big sticklers for doing things the right way.
Kick is up, and it is good. Grace Brethren once again builds up a 7-point lead, 14-7. Do want to remind you, tonight's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. 20 doctors with 5 locations in Ventura County, all with one goal in mind, to get you back in the game. Ventura Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, general orthopedics, pain management, pediatric, and MRI. Ventura Orthopedics offers exceptional therapy services featuring 26 highly skilled physical and occupational therapists. Learn more at venturaortho.com or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280. That's 800-698-1280, or visit venturaortho.com. This is the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. Kent Brown, George Contreras on the call from Moorpark College, Griffin Stadium. and it has been a treat so far. 3 drives, all 3 touchdowns for the Moorpark Musketeers and the Grace Brethren Lancers. This kickoff goes into the end zone for a touchback, and the Musketeers will start off at the 20. And I know you're a defensive guy, but put on the offensive coordinator hat for a second. How much pressure is on both of these coordinators tonight, knowing that every drive is just amplified because of the limited possessions and knowing the way that Grace operates?
I think the pressure is a little bit more on the Moorpark offensive side because in their style of offense, an incomplete pass here, a penalty pretty much stymies you. With the style that Grace Brethren is using, it's pretty much mistake-free and just get us 5, get us 5, get us 5, and we're happy campers. So this is, again, every drive is critical for Moorpark, getting the most they can out of them.
Moorpark, it was a 7-yard touchdown catch by Noah Cronquist on the first possession, and Drake London was a significant part of that first drive. On first down, it was Powell. He goes up the middle for 5 yards, and it will be 2nd and 5.
Powell's a very good, strong, fast running back for Moorpark. Moorpark's done a good job on first down of picking up 4 to 5, 6 yards each time and getting themselves ahead of the chain, so to speak, not being in a situation where they have to pass. They can still pick their poison as they go along here on how to advance the football with this kind of a 2nd and 5 situation.
Alec Powell, the 6-foot senior running back. Good 5-yard gain on first down. It will be Sturgill throwing it to Powell. Powell with the tough catch in traffic turns it upfield for 4 and 3rd and 1 for the Musketeers. And that time, he put a lot of zip on that ball, but Powell showed the soft hands, caught it, and then kept his momentum forward to pick up 4 yards. That's twice tonight that Powell's done a good job of catching the ball and turning upfield and getting some great yardage.
And it was a good read. They blitzed that time. It was a good job of Sturgill reading the blitz, feeling the blitz, and getting rid of the ball quickly. Again, he's got a very strong and a very accurate arm, so he's a great weapon and only a junior. His future is still way ahead of him.
3rd and 1, ball on the Lancers 20, on the Musketeers 29. On 3rd down, the pass is an errant throw too far ahead of his intended target, incomplete, and now a decision time for the Musketeers, and it looks like they will keep Sturgill in as the punter, but put in the special teams unit. So on 3rd and 1, they tried to go with the quick throw to the outside. It was not complete, and now Grace Brethren, unless there's a trick play, they'll be getting the ball back up 7.
And with pretty good field position.
A low snap.
Sturgill
has to get the punt off. Sturgill does connect with the ball and gets it into Lancers territory, but the snap was very low. Probably a fortunate bounce. It rolled right to Sturgill, who was able to get the punt off and end up picking up about 30 yards on the punt, but not with a snap you want in that situation. And now Grace gets the ball back up 7.
This is one of the reasons why you always want to have a good athlete as your punter to deal with that potentially disastrous situation. And Sturgill is certainly that. He did not panic. He took his time, knew what the situation was, and got rid of the football. Big again for Sturgill, another big play that doesn't really show up in the statistics.
Couple score updates. Pacifica leading Ventura 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. And then here, especially for us being in the Camino League tonight, Camarillo leads Bishop Diego 7-0 after the first quarter. On first down, a 2-yard gain and another rush for the Lancers. And it was Diggs once again. Only one pass attempt so far for Mikey Zelli, and it was complete for 35 yards to Nate Bennett in a toe-tapping sideline catch. So the fact that they're running the ball so well, it does open up for those type of plays because you're going to get single coverage all night.
Yeah, you've got secondary guys that are just dying to make a tackle. They're very aggressive, and all of a sudden, we just throw one pass and we get 35. And what that does, it takes the secondary back out a little bit for 4 or 5 more plays of running the ball. So,
or maybe you put in 2 or 3 tight ends and send one of your tight ends up the seam. That could very well happen.
2 wide receivers, full house backfield.
2nd and 8, and now a flag for the first time on offense. Looks to be in the positioning of a false start. A delay of game, I should say. So back up 5 yards. 2nd and 13 will be for the Lancers. The first time tonight we've seen a mental error from this Lancers offense.
All right, so a short first down play for only a couple yards, and now this penalty making it to 2nd and 13. Perhaps both offenses are starting to blink just a little bit at this point. We'll see how they respond.
9:30 remaining in the second quarter, 14-7. The hosts here at Moorpark College, Grace Brethren Lancers, leading Moorpark Musketeers 14-7. Not a bad gain as they had to back up 5 yards. They get about 4 of those yards back. but it will now be 3rd and 9, and for the first time tonight, a definite passing down on 3rd down.
This is really what Moorpark needed here. The penalty was a big factor. Even on that play, they picked up 4, but it's 3rd and 9. You'd be happy with 3rd and 9 anytime, especially a team that's a dominant run team. So the pressure here is now on Grace Brethren to throw the ball in an obvious throwing situation.
And if they do, you have to watch out for Moorpark. One of their top star defensive players, Joaquin Sandoval, number 42, is a tremendous corner. On 3rd and 9, they fake the handoff. It's going to be Zelli. He had his target open. It was Nate Bennett. Put a little too much on it as it sailed over the head of Bennett. A well-designed play.
Right.
Did not execute properly, and it will be a punt.
Right, nice bootleg. Both quarterbacks on 3rd down had a chance to make a play, and both of them that time have misconnected. This is the All-CIF punter-kicker for Grace Brethren,
Kevin Aranda.
Thought of very highly by the Grace Brethren staff.
Aranda back at his own 26, and it will be Joaquin Sandoval in as the punt returner. There is a flag thrown near the punt, and it is fair caught by Sandoval at the 36, and now the officials will get together to go over what the flag is, as it was thrown right where the punt was occurring,
right, and
back at about the 35-yard line.
It was thrown before the actual punt, so I don't think should not be roughing the punter.
No, you wouldn't think so. They're
Waving
going
it
to
off.
wave off the flag. So Moorpark, they stall on offense. They punt the ball, and then the defense rises to the occasion, forces a punt on Grace Brethren's side, and we're back to where we were before. 7-point game, Moorpark with the ball.
And I think with the Moorpark staff right now, that was probably a sigh of relief you heard from the other side. Because they were able to hold them on defense, not give them up even a first down, they are able to keep up. It's still a tie ball game. They're not a touchdown down trailing. So this has been good for Moorpark at this point.
4 wide receivers, London, Cronquist, Matiko, and Milton. Powell the lone back. Quarterback Sturgill from the shotgun. He will throw the quick slant, and it is Drake London who hauls the catch. And that time London was able to use his frame, get inside on the cornerback, and then make the catch for a first down. And a well-designed play, well executed. And if you can get your 6'4", 6'5" receiver with a chance on a quick slant, that's a high percentage throw.
Absolutely. And he's going to USC. He's a player. Big games require big players to make big plays. And he's certainly doing that so far in the contest. This contest, again, is a first-timer. These schools are very close in distance, with Moorpark being just around the corner here from where we are. And Grace Brethren's located in Simi Valley, using Moorpark as their home stadium. So this is the first time they've ever played each other. There's a lot of things going on here in terms of community pride and players who have played against each other or with each other in Pop Warner levels in years past. So it makes for a fun atmosphere.
There's going to be a timeout called by the Musketeers, and with that, I want to remind you that Ventura Orthopedics has one goal: to get you back in the game. The doctors are well versed in the special orthopedics needs of both the amateur and professional athlete. Many of their physicians currently serve as team doctors for most of the area high schools and community colleges. 20 doctors, 26 physical therapists, all with an athlete's best health performance in mind. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today, or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280. That's 800-698-1280, or visit VenturaOrtho.com. Tonight's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. That's subscribe.vcstar.com. It's a Camino League game. We are pleased to be here from Moorpark College. Kent Brown and George Contreras. We want to remind you that Lauren Ledeen is our on-field reporter tonight down for the. Go to vcstar.com and also visit VCS Preps on Twitter for all the latest scores and updates throughout the night. On 1st and 10, they're going to go a handoff on the right side, and it was maybe a gain of about a yard. And for the first time tonight, it will be a handoff to Michael Holland, the running back.
Okay, that play was designed to go up the middle, but the Lancers nose guard, Sebastian Vega, number 60, was able to disrupt that play and force him to bounce it outside where he really didn't want to go. Sebastian is considered to be the smallest of the defensive linemen for the Lancers, but the toughest one. They said if there was ever a street brawl going on, he's the guy you want on your side.
On 2nd and 9, ball right near midfield. The pass is going to be thrown to the left, incomplete. London was the intended target, but there was great coverage downfield from the Grace Brethren defense, and the two top corners for this team are Peyton Gorley and Troy Hothen, and that time it was knocked away impressively by Hothen.
Yeah, that time Sturgill took a pretty big hit from the defensive end of the Lancers. Let's see how that pans out. If he's going to start taking a lot of hits, that's going to make a big difference here.
Both quarterbacks, for the most part tonight, have been relatively clean, haven't been able to take those blows. It's 3rd and 9. Sturgill back to pass. He lays it out there, and it trails towards the sideline out of bounds, as London did have a few steps on the secondary, and now it's 4th and 9. And after a first quarter and one play in the second quarter where we saw nothing but offensive efficiency, now we've seen 3 straight possessions that will end in a punt.
Right. This is a change. The last 2 third downs for Moorpark, I'm sure Sturgill, as good a quarterback as he is, wishes he had those 2 passes back, especially that last one. A good throw there would have been a touchdown.
Sturgill is the punter, and the return man is Troy Hothen, who's also one of the starting quarterbacks for the Lancers. He signals a fair catch and then has to dive to get the ball at the 22. That's not something you're generally taught to do in that situation, but he comes up with it, and it will be Grace Brethren getting the ball back up 7 again.
We have a penalty here. There was a late hit by one of the Grace Brethren players way after the catch. As far as the catch is concerned, technically you do not want your punt returners fielding balls that are below their waist level. And when you dive like that, that's way below your waist level. He came up with a big play, but percentage-wise, if you're in Las Vegas, you'd be betting against him making that play on a regular basis.
Now they will mark off the penalty. It was fair caught at the 22, but if it's a half the distance penalty, it will back up the Lancers all the way to about the 11-yard line.
Now, the beauty of this is for Grace Brethren is that their style of grinded out offense can deal with this. The problem is if you do grind 5 yards at a time and you're trying to go 89 yards, the chances for something getting you off schedule become bigger. A turnover, a penalty, those types of things like derailed them in their last series. They have to be careful with that down here. Early in the season, Grace Brethren had some problems with turnovers. They haven't had that problem in the last game or two. So they hopefully, for their sake, they need to secure that football down here.
One wide, the handoff was to Witt, and then there is a flag. It will be a motion penalty for the Grace Brethren Lancers, and that's exactly what you just said, George. It's one thing to stay on schedule if you have a short field, but when you have a very long field, one penalty could be a disaster, and it backs up the Lancers all the way to the 6-yard line. So first and 15.
First and 15 is hard, even if you are running the ball well. One of the things that's happening here is the Grace Brethren players their line likes to get up, snap down, and they snap the football, a la De La Salle up north. And this can be a rolling start a lot of times when you get that kind of penalty.
First and 15. The handoff goes to Witt. Witt past the 10, up to the 15-yard line. A good gain. It actually was Josh Henderson, the coach's son, the junior, who also starts at inside linebacker. It was his first carry of the game. You mentioned the rib injury, the broken rib he had in the season opener. He's been limited on offense. They've used him, but not as much as, when you're winning most games, you don't have to have him out there as much. The coaching staff clearly felt like a change of pace was needed, and Henderson had a really nice gain there of about 9 yards at 2nd and 6.
Being a linebacker, too, he's a pretty tough kid. So down here in this situation on the goal line, that might be the better player to have, and at this point, a little bit tougher, stronger type player.
2nd and 6, 2 wide to the top of your screen on the wide side of the field. The handoff goes for a first down up to the 22-yard line, and another carry by Henderson. And they were 1st and 15. Now it's 1st and 10 after 2 gains of 9 and 7. Move the sticks. First down for the Lancers.
Offensive line, offensive line, offensive line.
And the one thing it's worth noting is there's only 6 minutes left now in this quarter. The way this offense moves the ball, if they methodically move it down the field, this might be close to the last possession of this quarter. On first down, it's another big gain up the middle, a 12-yard pickup, and another first down, as for the 4th time tonight, Lontrell Diggs has had a carry of over 10 yards.
One of the players that you might want to keep a look at if you love offensive line plays, number 74 for Grace Brethren, Tifau Taivai. He's a junior. He's 6'3", 350 pounds. Just a gigantic young player. And
I feel bad for the parents there having to feed a kid.
Oh my gosh! When I went over to Grace Brethren, the first thing I asked Coach is, after seeing his kids, is, "Do you have a book of the favorite restaurants in town for these guys? I got to go eat at some of these places."
Exactly. The handoff, about a 3-yard pickup off the left side. They go off tackle for a rare time tonight as Danny Witt picks up the short gain, 2nd and 7. But yes, you're trying. It's tough to feed any high school kids. You're just going through whatever's in the household, and then you have some of these linemen, as you mentioned earlier. You have a guy like Toya, who's a sophomore, who's already committed to SC. And you have Ty Vi, Clock, Cardillo, and Alba. These are all big guys, and you can see why they're panning out. This is an offensive line that's been very impressive all night. 2nd and 7, 5:12 left in the second quarter. The man in motion goes to the right side, and that is where the run happens. Diggs has it, past midfield, up past the 45 to the 40-yard line. Latrell Diggs picks up about 24 yards on the carry. They're going to mark him out at about the 44, so it's a 20-yard gain, but a huge run for Diggs. Right. And that time you send the man in motion, you have him block the right side, and he just follows his blockers.
And he broke 2 tackles at the line of scrimmage. The worst thing that happened to him is when he ran out of bounds. He tripped over a bag or something and landed pretty hard on the track out there. But good physical run by Diggs.
And it was Skidmore who came in that time as the H-back or tight end and made the big block. And we mentioned Skidmore and Henderson being 2 linebackers they trust. We've seen them both out there on the offensive side on this possession. 1st and 10, handoff up the middle, and it's a gain of about 2. But we were interested to see how this progresses as the game goes on with how many guys would only play one way. For the first time tonight, we are seeing some of the two-way players come in on offense.
Right, and I think with the linebacker types, a little bit thinner, shall we say, you can do that. Some of those big boys up front, like we just mentioned, 350-pound young man, for a guy that size at this age to be going 2 ways would be asking quite a bit, actually. So I think you just have to use them sparingly, not 2-way the whole game, but in key situations.
4.5 remaining in the second quarter. 2nd and 8. Ball is in Musketeers territory. Another punishing handoff up the middle, and it's a good gain of about 5.5, and it will be 3rd and short, awaiting the Lancers. And now they bring in a couple of those tight ends. Skidmore back in the game.
Diggs back in.
Also, Talfu's back in the game, so we see him a lot at the defensive end. He's coming in to block. This is a very heavy power package.
Very much so. One of the things so far, have we seen Grace Brethren have a negative yardage play? I don't know. I think maybe a 2-yard gain has been the shortest they've had, so they are just controlling things at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they've had a couple penalties, but all positive yardage plays. And on 3rd and 3, it is Diggs getting the ball. He needed 3, picks up 4, and slips. Otherwise, it might have been more, but it does move those chains, and it's 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line, and that has been, and we said it all night, that's one reason you can continue to wear the other team down and mentally wear them down, is you're constantly gaining and picking up yards every play.
And you're keeping, again, you're keeping the explosive offensive players for Moorpark, Sturgill, and those guys. They're on the bench watching for large amounts of time. These are drives that are taking up, probably 6, 7, 8 minutes of each half.
The Maryland I formation with 2 lead backs plus a tailback, all in the I form, is there once again, and it's about only a pickup of maybe 4 yards, and it will be 3rd and 4 awaiting the Lancers, and there's only 3:20 remaining here in the second quarter, so clock is an issue. The Lancers in no hurry by any means, but the Musketeers really want to get the ball back, and they definitely don't want to be down 2 scores. It's a big one here. It actually will be 2nd and 5.
This is the thing that they did not want to see, is this long, physical, grinding type game. There, Diggs on his last run, if you notice, he probably carried 4 guys the last 5 yards of the carry.
2nd and 5. Made a mistake there thinking it was already 2nd down. It was Diggs getting the initial 1st down gain. It is Henderson. Henderson has the ball on 2nd and 5, picks up 9 yards, and he gets another positive carry, his 3rd of this quarter, and he's gone 9, 7, and 9. So that is a pretty good start for Henderson, who's come in this possession and has ripped off 3 carries for 23 yards.
Adds a little bit of quickness to the mixture.
And good vision, it seems.
Good vision and very good blocking. The hole there was quite expansive. So made his life a little bit simpler. So, again, this is all based on having a very good, solid, dominating offensive line. Getting back to what Coach Henderson said, we want to be physical in all three phases, and they certainly are doing that so far.
2 wide receivers, Bennett in the slot and Stewart at the top of your screen. Henderson gets the call again on first down. Henderson bulldozing his way inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line, a 7-yard pickup, and another huge gain on the ground for the Grace Brethren Lancers. And there's now 2:30 remaining, and it will be 2nd and 3.
Doesn't matter really who they give the ball to. The way that offensive line is blocking right now, any of these good, solid backs are picking up solid yardage. Diggs being a little bit more physical of the backs, the other one's having a little bit more quickness in hitting the hole.
Bennett has shown the ability tonight to go up and get the football on a rare pass attempt. They will keep it on the ground, though, and it is near the first down marker. They have to get to the 10, and it appears to be right there. So depending on the spot, it could be 1st and goal for the Lancers. If it's not, it will be 3rd and inches. And the officials are signaling first down, so it will be 1st and goal for Grace Brethren after the 3-yard pickup.
So they've picked up 79 out of the 89 yards they've needed so far, and they're still looking for some kind of a breakdown defensively. For Moorpark is looking for a breakdown of some kind by Grace Brethren.
Now they bring in the extra lineman. It's going to be Soani Toya coming into the game, the junior defensive tackle. So Toya in, along with Taufu and Skidmore back in for a power package.
Some people will say, well, let's look at a play-action pass here. Why? You're running the football. Just run it. Until they stop it, just keep running it. And here is a play-action pass.
Play-action, and now they will go towards the end zone. Incomplete. Great attempt on the catch, trying to make the play that time in the end zone, and it was well designed. They had the receiver open briefly, and the pass did not quite connect. And so now, I'm going to say you're behind the stick, so to speak, but it is 2nd and 10.
It is 2nd, but you're in 4-down zone here for sure, I would say. I think with as little time as left, even if they were not to score, they'd be happy to give Moorpark the ball inside the 5 with a minute or so left. But again, there's your one shot. Now let's get back to what we do best, and that's run the football.
2nd and 10. They're going to go handoff to Diggs. Diggs is stopped at the line of scrimmage, and we mentioned about positive yardage all game. This is now back-to-back plays with no gain. Incomplete pass now. It will be 3rd and goal from the 10. We do want to remind our Facebook Live audience, we will be exclusively on vcstar.com after the half, so make sure when the second quarter ends, flip to vcstar.com for the exclusive coverage in the 3rd and the 4th quarter. And it is a timeout called, and a good timeout here. Mm-hmm. We mentioned probably 4-down territory, but it is 3rd and 10 all of a sudden. But the way you're running the football, specifically with Diggs in this power formation, or Henderson if they go that route, you pick up 5 or 6 here. You got to think you go for the 4th down, especially this close to their goal line.
I would think so. The thing I was impressed there, Moorpark is a very proud football program. They've got some great tradition there, and that was a great defensive effort. Their kids are not giving up. They're playing hard. For once, they were able to get a lot of players across the line of scrimmage and make a tackle in the backfield. I think they actually lost a yard on that play. So Moorpark is a tough program. This is not going to be an easy score by any means. They're going to have to fight and scratch for all 10 of these yards if they want to score a touchdown.
Couple score updates. Oxnard leading Channel Islands 34-0 heading to the second quarter. And this game here, it's 14-7. So this is a big league game. Camino League. Both teams 1-0 in league play. 5-2 on the season are the Grace Brethren Lancers. 5-1 are the Moorpark Musketeers. 3rd and goal, minute 33 remaining from the 10. It will be a throw towards the goal line, incomplete, and that time it was knocked away from the defensive back. A good play by the cornerback Sandoval, getting a hand and stripping it away, and now 4th and 10 upcoming for the Lancers if they chose to go for it.
Right, and it looks like they are going to kick.
Send in the special teams.
Again, this was always kind of confusing for me. They've driven the ball 80 yards down the field, and all of a sudden we throw 2 passes down here. I think they were just dominating physically. Just keep dominating.
Snap back, hold down. Aranda's kick is up, and it is through, so it does give the Lancers a 10-point lead in the 2-score game as the field goal was made from 27 yards away. But as you said, George, if you are the defensive coordinator, anytime they're putting it in the air, you probably feel like, okay, a better shot this time around than if they just run it and pick up 4 or 5.
Right. I think even though they gave up the 3 points there, that series was a little bit of a victory for the Moorpark defense. Being down by 10 is a lot better than being down by 14 in the situation. How much time we got? I cannot see the scoreboard.
1 minute and 24 seconds. Okay. So Musketeers have that, and they only have one timeout remaining, though.
But they have a good passing attack, good quarterback, good receivers. They've had people open in the secondary. Just need to connect with them. They have enough time, and they have the weapons to score.
10-point lead for the Lancers. Moorpark's offense is explosive all year. They've done a great job of scoring quick points. We saw it a couple weeks ago against Simi Valley, but tonight it has been tough sledding after their initial score on their first possession. It will be returned by Cronquist. Cronquist has it up past the 25, but then 2 penalty flags are thrown, and this will back up the Musketeers inside their own 20, most likely inside their own 15-yard line. So for Moorpark to go the distance, they're going to have to do it in 1 minute and 18 seconds with just one timeout.
That's a tough chore, and that's certainly not what you wanted. Being out around the 30 would have been a nice spot to be, but it's not meant to be with that block in the back, I would say. And, yeah.
We got 2 holding calls against Moorpark.
2 holding calls. So they will break down exactly which one was closer towards the goal line and take that penalty and go half the distance.
So it looks like the flag was dropped at the 10. Yeah, and is it from the 10? So they're going to be at the 5. And this is certainly not where you want to start this particular drive with so little time left in the half.
This is also, though, when you have a veteran quarterback like Sturgill who makes good decisions, you trust him here more than if you had a signal caller that you might fear would make a big mistake here.
Absolutely.
I think with Sturgill, you can trust a play action or you can trust a drop-back pass and probably know he's not going to take a sack near the goal line or throw an errant interception.
Right.
And they go 4 wide, trips to the top of your screen, and a single ISO'd receiver at the bottom. Sturgill's back to pass. He will take off. He is pressured. And as I just said, you have to watch for the sack and the safety. That occurs in the end zone. And the Grace Brethren defense pins him deep. And then on special teams, it was a huge play coming up and making the play for Grace Brethren. A safety, 2 points, and now they get the ball back with 1:11 left. A key mistake. And the Lancers capitalized a huge defensive play.
Right. When you're going to throw out of your end zone in a situation like this, you want to have just a quick throw. If you're going to go for a streak, make it a quick streak. Sturgill had to hold on to the ball a little bit longer than you would like, probably because the receivers were well covered, and the result was the safety. So this takes a lot of the steam out of the positive thing that you just had happen for the Moorpark defense. And even though there's not much time left, the Moorpark defense is going to be back on the field.
They have 3 timeouts.
And they have 3 timeouts. And you're kicking off from the 20-yard line, so you know that Grace Brethren should have, barring penalty or some goofy play, should have some very good field position here to drive it down and get another score before halftime.
1 minute, 11 seconds left. Grace Brethren with a 19-7 lead in this ball game. It was 7-7 after the first. Moorpark on their last 3 possessions, 2 punts, and now a safety on first down as they were starting off from their own 5. The kickoff is going to go to the 40-yard line. It is caught by an up man, turning upfield past the 50 in Moorpark territory down to the 44-yard line, and it was a good return that time by Kai Tinker, who's also one of the wide receivers for this team. So very good field position, 3 timeouts and 1:06 remaining here in the second quarter.
I'll see if they do go to the air again as they did in that last series, see if they're patient. I think right now they can run the football with these timeouts that they have. Even just getting a field goal out of this thing would be a good situation here.
Aranda just made a 27-yarder. Might come back on to try to build on this 12-point lead.
Aranda had a 42-yard field goal against Westlake.
Back to pass is Zelli, and Zelli is met in the backfield for the sack. And that time there were 2 players, but the main one for Moorpark coming up and making the sack was Brandon Vogel, the senior defensive end.
Great job by the defensive front, really putting pressure on that quarterback. Again, with Zelli, he's trying to throw the ball deep. That takes some time for the receivers to get downfield, and it gave time for the Moorpark defenders to put the pressure on and get a big sack, force one of their timeouts to come in now a 2nd and 13-14 situation. So if they're going to use the timeouts, that's where you want them to use them, where they have they're behind the chains.
2nd and 14, 55 seconds left in the second quarter. We do want to remind our viewers that are watching this on Facebook Live, will be exclusively on vcstar.com for the second half. Also, tonight's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. That's subscribe.vcstar.com. This was a 7-7 game. Kent Brown and George Contreras here from Moorpark College, Griffin Stadium, and it is the Grace Brethren Lancers leading 19-7. It was 7-7 after the first, 12 points, touchdown, field goal, and a safety here in the second quarter from the Grace Brethren Lancers. It'll be 2nd and 14, ball in plus territory at the Moorpark 48. The pass is caught inside the 35, and making another good catch is Nate Bennett, the junior wide receiver. This one goes. They needed 14. They get 14, and it's another first down.
Good protection, very good throw, good route. He made a nice little out cut, and it was wide open. Timing was there.
Great timing on that route. Just getting the yardage needed. Mikey Zelli, the sophomore quarterback. Two wide receivers. Now they'll actually send. They're going to go spread for the first time tonight. 5 wide. Zelli from the shotgun. Back to pass. Now he's going to run. There's nobody around. Zelli takes off inside the 30, down in the red zone to the 15-yard line and gets out of bounds. That time the defense seemed to be a little bit lost based on the formation, and there was so much space in front of Zelli that he took off and ended up picking up about 25 yards.
Zelli is known to have great feet and good scrambler. They do like him when he runs the football. The defensive end on the top side for Moorpark lost his containment. Zelli felt it, burst out, and just took off with the football. Good heads-up play by Zelli.
41 seconds remaining. 19-7 is the score. Zelli under center. He will hand it off to Diggs. Diggs goes to the left side, and Diggs picks up maybe just a few yards. Clock continues to wind, and with 2 timeouts left, you kind of feel like you might want to use one of those timeouts here.
I would think run it here and then probably come back to the timeout after this play. And the pass.
And this time they will go towards the end zone, incomplete, as it was intended for the target down on the left side, Nate Bennett. They've been going to Bennett all night. That time it goes wide, and it will be 3rd and 7.
Bennett did a lot of contact there between Bennett and the defensive back from Moorpark. Possible hold call that they just felt since the ball was thrown out of bounds, although that's not a high school rule, that it was a no harm, no foul kind of a situation.
12-point lead in the red zone are the Lancers. 18 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Still 2 timeouts left for Grace Brethren. Checking out of the game and looking upset about it is Bennett. This time it will be a trick play. There's a flag down on the bottom of your screen. They're going to try to pass it, and now rolling all the way to his right, incomplete. That time it was Kai Tinker, the senior, trying to have somebody move down the field and get open.
I think the problem that we had there was they broke the huddle. One of the players had to leave the field, another one was coming on, and that's not legal. So we have a penalty that is helping Moorpark out greatly. The reverse play right there, like you said, he was looking for a receiver, but there was none there.
Now they will mark off the 5 yards, and it will be back to the 17-yard line with just 9 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Well, you got, what do we got, 3rd down?
3rd down, ball's on the 17. They need to get to the 5, so 3rd and 12.
Right, and you still have 1 timeout left. You can get your field goal team back on the field. As we said, the kicker for Aranda for Grace Brethren has good for a 42-yard field goal earlier in the season.
4 wide.
Range.
Diggs will be the lone back. Just a hair under 10 seconds. It is Zelli back to pass. Zelli's trying to wait till something opens up. He throws it into the end zone. It's picked off, and then the defensive back will take a knee with just over. There's 3/10 remaining here in the second quarter, so You have to think, take a knee, get to the half, and that was a big defensive play made by the Moorpark defense. Another stand, and that time you give up a touchdown here, it might be game over.
Right.
The Musketeers rise to the occasion and get the stop.
Yeah, I think right now the Musketeer defense is playing, overall they're playing better. They've stopped them here on this drive. They held them to a field goal on the last drive. The problem that was highlighted from the get-go is the Moorpark offense has got to score when they get the football. They're only going to get 4 or 5 possessions in a half, and they have to do a better job.
Under a second remaining, so I guess officially 1 second, as there's 0.3 left on the Moorpark College clock. Under center is Sturgill. He will take a knee, and that will bring us to the half, and it is 19-7. Moorpark trails Grace Brethren. We will step aside. You are watching the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. Welcome back to Griffin Stadium at Moorpark College. Kent Brown and George Contreras here for a Camino League game. Two teams that are 1-0 in league play. It's a 19-7 Grace Brethren lead over the Moorpark Musketeers. It was locked up 7-7 after the first. 12 points, touchdown, field goal, and safety gave the Lancers a 12-point edge at the half. Here's a few area scores also at the half. Camino League game, Camarillo leading Bishop Diego 21-7. They scored very late to get the 2-score lead in that second quarter. Other area scores, Buena leading Rio Mesa 24-0, Nordhoff 21, Santa Clara 0, Oxnard ahead of Channel Islands 47-0, Oaks Christian up on Newberry Park 27-0, Pacifica ahead of Ventura 28-0, and then Sierra Canyon just took the lead late in the second quarter over Calabasas 28-21. George, this was a game in which the first quarter we saw a lot of excellent offense. In the second quarter, it was the defenses rising to the occasion. And now down 12, Moorpark will get the football as this kickoff is corralled at the 4-yard line. It's Cronquist from his 4. Will cut up to the 20. Now he's out past the 30. Noah Cronquist all the way up to the 37-yard line as he stepped out between the 35 and the 40. And that was a big-time kickoff return. And it actually was Sandoval who returned it that time. They have 2 guys back there. It was Sandoval returning that one. And a great return. And Moorpark now down 12. They really need to be sharp on this possession.
Right, they've got good field position for once. That helps them. And they have to get a score on this series. Hopefully a touchdown for them. The way that the score stands now, if they don't score here and that they can allow Grace Brethren to just pound the ball the rest of the game and eat up clock, it'll be a very tough go for Moorpark. So this is a huge, huge series for them.
4 wide, and it is Michael Holland, the sophomore running back, into the game. They will flank him out. Throws the screen pass to Holland. It is caught past the 40 to the 43-yard line, so a pickup of 5 on first down. And it's Holland that gets the start the third quarter. Usually Alec Powell's back there, but they want to change the pace.
Probably, again, maybe perhaps a little bit better receiver, maybe a little bit more speed. One of the things, too, we're always talking about the physical nature of the offense for Grace Brethren. Their defensive kids fly around really well, too. That was a pass that was caught in the open field, and 2 defenders closed that gap instantly. So this is a good back-and-forth type of situation. But 2nd and 5, good situation for Moorpark.
League play game. Both teams 1-0 in the Camino League. Here at Moorpark College, it is the Musketeers on 2nd and 5. It is going to be a sack and a fumble. The ball is battled for, and it is taken away from Sturgill and recovered by the Grace Brethren defense. And that time, winning the battle of the line of scrimmage and forcing was Stanley Taufu in on the sack and then the recovery.
Taufu just ran right through his offensive tackle, ran right through the quarterback, forcing the fumble. Great individual effort by him. This is the way that, again, that our man Josh Henderson, the head coach at Grace Brethren, likes his teams to play physical on every phase, and that was a physical play by a physical player.
It happened so fast that I almost wanted to make sure that's what transpired, that he lost the football, because Taufu stuck him, beat his man, and then came up with the recovery. A beautiful defensive play by the Lancers, and now up 12, they have this punishing running attack. It will be the quarterback keeping it this time as Zelli picks up about 5 yards, and it will be 2nd and medium, and the momentum shifts right back to the Lancers side. They build up the 12-point lead. They forced a turnover for the second time tonight. It was a safety, and now a Sturgill drops back. It's a sack fumble. So in his last 2 dropbacks, this defense has dominated and won the line of scrimmage.
We have big physical players. We talked about before that as this game goes on, they can wear down a team, and that's, I think, what's happening as we're going on here.
Lancers ball at the 30. Lancers in the all-black uniforms. It will be a pass on second down, and it is caught on the slant route. A great catch on the top of your screen, and it was a little bit difficult to see which numbers some of these guys are wearing. That time it was caught by Luke Stewart, the sophomore wide receiver, for the first down.
Good execution, simple slant route, simple catch, simple throw. Keeps the Chicks moving, and again, it forces the secondary to back off a little bit and not be there for run support.
1st and 10, ball on the 22-yard line. Grace Brethren Lancers. It will be an inside handoff, and that goes to Danny Witt, who had a bunch of carries in the first quarter. They started featuring Josh Henderson in the second quarter, and that time Witt picks up about 5 yards. 2nd and 5 coming up in the red zone for the Lancers.
Strong safety Ethan Gomez, number 22, a really good hit there on that for that tackle for Moorpark.
Yeah, this is a secondary. They like everybody involved. Joaquin Sandoval, the playmaker at corner, and both Meyer and Gomez have made plays from the safety positions tonight. 2nd and 6 officially. It will be Diggs. Diggs goes to the right side. Diggs powering his way towards the 10-yard line up to the 11. That will be enough for the first down. Needed 6, got 7.
And part of that is he always seems to be falling forward, and being a typical sized teenager, that's another 2 yards every time you fall forward, and that on 20 carries, there's another 40, 45, 50 yards as the game goes along.
Yeah, so, you have Henderson, who's 6'2", 200, and then you have 5'8", 180 Witt, and 5'8", 230 Lontrell Diggs. So a bunch of different body types that have gotten plenty of carries tonight. It will be Henderson. Henderson cuts up inside the 5, fumbles the football towards the goal line. The side judge does indicate touchdown as the ball crossed the goal line. Henderson fumbles right after, but it's an 11-yard score, and Grace Brethren with another touchdown leads 25-7.
And I believe that was the right call. I think he did break the plane and then fumbled it when he hit the ground in the end zone. So big answer by the defense first for Grace Brethren, and the offense came right down the field with no doubt about it, kind of a drive.
After a 7-7 start in which it looked like this may be a game that Moorpark can ill afford to not score, it has been all Grace Brethren since, with a couple forced turnovers. The PAT is good, and the Lancers now lead 26-7. Today's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. That's subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers. Also want to remind you that Ventura Orthopedics is proud to support the collegiate and high school athletic teams in the community. The doctors serve as team physicians for most of the high school and college sports teams in the area. Whether assisting with game injuries or cheering for players from the sidelines, the doctors at Ventura Orthopedics consider it a privilege to be part of the team. You are watching the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. .9:03 remaining third quarter. Kent Brown and George Contreras here from Moorpark College, home of the Moorpark College Raiders, and it has been all Grace Brethren since the start of the second quarter. It's going to be a short kickoff inside the 20. Now will be returned to about the 30-yard line, and it will be Sandoval again crossing the 25 up to about the 29.
Well, the one good thing for Moorpark, they have the offensive weapons to still be able to strike and strike quickly. But they need to do that. They absolutely have to get a score here. I really believe if they do not score on this drive, I think it'll be a long second half mentally, not physically. It'll be a short with a lot of runs coming up by the Grace Brethren Lancers. So,
speaking of striking quickly, Camarillo has added to their lead 28-7 over Bishop Diego. Camarillo and the winner of tonight's game could be the only two remaining undefeated teams in league play. On first down, the pass was Aaron as it was short of the receiver, and then there's a flag in the backfield. Personal foul on the defense that will give Moorpark a first down, and maybe either mouthing off or some sort of late hit, but either way, the Lancers will be penalized 15, and that will give Moorpark the ball up past the 40.
And this is the kind of mistake that'll drive Coach Henderson crazy because his team is in control right now, and the last thing you want to do is give a Moorpark offense 15 easy yards like that, especially when it should have been 2nd and 10. Now you have a 1st and 10 again with 15 yards of field position added.
Yeah, the defense gets the stop on first down, and then the 15-yard penalty occurs, just giving free yardage away. And for Blake Sturgill, this is a big third quarter for him because his team's down 19 points, and it's been an impressive year for Moorpark, but in their one loss, they did lose 34-0 to Westlake, so the game got away from them. They're trying everything they can to keep this game within striking distance. On first down, it's Holland again. Holland, I think it was meant to be an inside run. He bounces outside, and nothing doing. 0 yards on that carry, 2nd and 10.
Too much penetration by the defensive line of Grace Brethren.
Talfu again.
Yeah, they're just getting across and forcing things to happen where they don't want it. That, as you said, that's an inside run that he had to bounce to the outside, and we're not really blocking people out there. So makes it very, very tough on the offense to get going. Sturgill, who we've seen in the past and is a really good high school quarterback, just has not seemed real comfortable tonight as he had as in other games we've seen him.
The 3-4, Talfu, Toya, and Vega have been very good here tonight. On 2nd and 10, it's going to be an inside screen, and it is caught by Hunter Milton. Milton picks up about 4, and it will be 3rd and 6. And you have to kind of consider here 4 downs, potentially. You're down 19 points. You know the way this Grace offense operates where it's minimal possessions. If you punt, you're 6 yards away. You don't want any negative plays, but if you pick up 2 or 3 here, I have to think you might think about rolling the dice.
I think you're very much spot on. If they can get a 4th down, if it winds up 4th inside the 50, whether it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, they might very well go for it because I'm with you. We haven't seen anything right now that's saying that Moorpark's going to stop this offense on a consistent basis.
You have a weapon in Drake London on the outside at the top of your screen. They go to London. London makes the catch. So as we call his number, so does Blake Sturgill. He strikes that slant again. And for the second time tonight, they've gone Drake London on the top of your screen on the wide side, and it's worked out very well.
London's having a good night. He hasn't been thrown to that much, but he's pretty much caught everything that's come his way. Good player, playing well.
7:20 remaining in the third quarter, 19-point lead for the Lancers over the Musketeers. Musketeers driving inside Lancers territory. It will be a screen pass thrown behind the intended target. That time it was meant for Holland, unable to corral the pass, and it will be 2nd and 10. And that looked like even if he caught it, there were multiple defenders right there ready to swarm in and make the play.
There was a strong safety who came up hard. He got in the throwing lane that, again, caused some vision problems on that particular play. But I think those are the types of plays that they need to go to counteract all this hard pressure up inside by the defensive front of Grace Brethren.
2nd and 10. Moorpark ball on the Grace 37-yard line, trailing by 19. Handoff's fake to Holland. It will go deep to Drake London, incomplete. Went over and sailed past all of the intended targets. And once again, good coverage on Drake London, and it will be 3rd and 10. Another good, superb coverage by Troy Hothen. Hothen's also been the punt returner, and he's done a really good job on the outside as a cornerback here tonight.
Hey, Stanley Tofu, number 42, the USC-bound defensive end here that's on the bottom of your screen, number 42. Keep watching him, folks. He's really getting off the ball well and causing a lot of problems for the Moorpark offense.
Holland remains the running back, 4 wide. They'll send Holland to the right side. Pressure coming, and it's an inside screen. London has it for a big gain up to the 22-yard line, 15 yards on the pickup. And that time, it was too easy for the defense, designed to get inside, and then you slip that screen out. Perfectly executed, and Sturgill knew he was going to take a shot and still got the ball perfectly to his target.
Yeah, he did, and he did take a pretty good shot there. Clean shot, no penalty on it. But these are the types of plays, these outside screens, outside receiver throws that they have to do to combat this pressure from the inside by the defensive line.
Nearing the midway point of the third quarter. Trailing by 19, it will be Sturgill throwing deep, incomplete.
And a penalty.
I was going to say there looked to be a bump towards that goal line, and this time winning out on it is Moorpark, so it will be about half the distance and could be very well enough for a first down. So a good heads-up play. You get it to your top playmaker, hope he makes it, and this time he was dragged down a little bit, and that's why there will be the pass interference.
Even if it's half the distance, I believe this is an automatic first down on pass interference. So they'll get the ball at around the 10-yard line.
They're going to assess the penalty. It was on the 21. Going to move it all the way up to the 11-yard line, which does give a first down for Moorpark, and you need a touchdown here. You're down 19 points and probably ill afford to come up here empty.
Excellent drive so far by Moorpark. Now they have to finish.
4 wide. Handoff goes to Holland. Holland will cut up inside the 10, down to about the 7-yard line. A 3-yard pickup, 2nd and goal from the 7.
Good gain. Again, if you can get 3 or more yards here, and this is definitely 4-down territory for sure. I don't think they want to go for a field goal down, and they need to get a score, a touchdown.
Very efficient drive for Moorpark. Last possession, they turned it over. There was the sack, the fumble, and then a few plays later, Grace Brethren capitalized with the Henderson score. The largest deficit of the game. Under center is Blake Sturgill. 4 wide, man in motion is Matiko. They will throw it his way. Matiko cuts up close to the 5-yard line. A short pickup of maybe about 2, and it will be 3rd and goal from the 5. It looked like just maybe too many bodies in a short area there.
Right. There was press coverage by the defense since they're only at the 10, so people were able to get off blocks and make that tackle relatively easily.
3rd and goal from the 5. 5:20 remaining in the third quarter here from Moorpark College, Griffin Stadium. Kent Brown and George Contreras on the call. Sturgill will move to his left, looking for his target in the back of the end zone, and it is intercepted by Grace Brethren. That time Sturgill unable to get it to that back corner, and coming up and making the play. Once again, it's going to be a turnover. That's 3 possessions in their last 3 that have resulted in a turnover, a safety, a sack fumble, and now an interception in the red zone. And when you desperately needed points, Moorpark leaves with 0 and a big turnover and a stand, huge stand for this Grace Brethren Lancers.
Absolutely. And again, Stanley Tofu, number 42, applied tremendous pressure from the backside, forced Sturgill to throw the ball probably a little bit sooner than he wanted to, couldn't get his hips turned to his receiver, and the result was the interception.
Score update. Bishop Diego scores to cut their lead to 28-14. It will be a handoff to Diggs. Diggs inside the 40. Diggs down to the 35. Diggs with a huge gain of 55 yards, the largest gain of the day for Diggs, and it will be 1st and 10 from the Moorpark 35. And I just mentioned one game closing, and this game might be expanding a lead as this punishing Lancers offense continues to run the ball down the throat of the defense and positive gains all night.
The mental part of this game right now is again, you've been down there Moorpark with a chance to score, get back into the ball game, and you turn it over on an interception. And now, boom, here we hit a 50-60-yard run by Diggs, just a straight run, nothing fancy. The mental part of it is really going over towards towards Grace Brethren right now.
Lontrell Diggs having a great game so far. This will be a short gain of about 3.
Nothing fancy, but again, moving the chains forward. It's 3rd down, a 2nd down, a 3-yard gain. That's fine. They're on schedule right now.
And clock continues to wind. You're not in bad shape at 2nd and 7. And you, as you mentioned, wearing this defense down has been the key from start until now.
This is a very big offensive line, a physical line with physical style play. This is Grace Brethren football right now at its finest.
2 wide receivers, 2 backs. They will throw the ball down the middle to the tight end. Incomplete. He was open, and Zelli overshot his target. I believe that might have been Skidmore, who was going down the seam. Maybe Avery Cook, one of those 2 tight ends. And
I believe that's Cook. And Cook's a story in and of himself. He missed all of last season due to a knee injury. Did not play in one single game last year. But he's come back, worked very hard, and here's a guy who didn't play last year because of injury, voted team captain this year. So big leader with a chip on his shoulder, a relentless type of player who I'm sure has been involved heavily in the blocking tonight.
And we mentioned that maybe a play they go to later as this game goes on, knowing how many tight ends they send out there. And he was open down the seam, just a little bit too much on the pass for Zelli. It's 3rd and 7. Zelli will take off near the 25-yard line. He had to get there. Appears to be about a half a yard short, and it will be 4th and inches. And I do not think that Coach Henderson will even remotely second-guess this decision. Stay on the field. You have to think you power for this play.
I would think so. We have a Moorpark player down, unfortunately. I would look to them to come back with their 2 tight end, triple stack eye offensive look, and just power it in for a yard.
20 doctors with 5 locations in Ventura County, all with one goal in mind: to get you back in the game. Ventura Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, general orthopedics, pain management, pediatric, and MRI. Ventura Orthopedics offers exceptional therapy services featuring 26 highly skilled physical and occupational therapists. Learn more at venturaortho.com or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280. That's 800-698-1280. Or visit venturaortho.com. Also want to remind you, tonight's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the Ventura County area. To support this broadcast and all of the year-round sports coverage by the sports team at the Star, sign up for a print or digital subscription to the Ventura County Star. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers.
Yeah, Ryan Hatch, number 3, the defensive lineman from Moorpark, was the one who was injured, walking off under his own power, so I think he'll be okay.
Clock winds, 3:50 left in the third quarter from Moorpark College. Grace Brethren out of Simi Valley against the hometown Moorpark Musketeers. And that's a story we didn't discuss. The first down is made. Moorpark decided to warm up from their home stadium. They got here about 15 minutes before kickoff, settled in, went through pretty much no pregame warm-ups here, and then took the field. And again, you're close, but that's extremely rare to see anything like that happen.
I was kind of surprised they do that. You know, teams get into a routine, a pregame, especially here in the middle of the season. You've been doing things a certain way, and all of a sudden you make a big change in how you do that. I don't know if that's the best thing to do for your team in terms of the mental mindset of coming into a ball game.
1st and 10, inside the 25-yard line. It will be Diggs. Diggs gets met at the line of scrimmage, nothing doing, and probably for maybe the third time tonight, no gain on a running play.
The Lancers are also now using some unbalanced line. On the left side, they only had a guard and a tight end. So, again, really stacking the one side, the right side, and running to that way, causing more alignment issues for the Musketeers. And no gain. That's boy. How often have you said that tonight? Maybe once?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe 2-3 times at the most. It has been positive gains all night for whether it's Diggs, Witt, Gill, Henderson, and then Zelli. They've all been very good. Zelli will go back to pass. Zelli's looking to go deep to the corner of the end zone. His receiver falls down. There is a flag thrown as they're going to call interference or maybe holding on Sandoval, as Sandoval was trying to muscle up with the receiver on the far side of the field, and the back judge threw it, and it looks like it will be a penalty on the Musketeers.
If it's a holding call, I understand that part. If it's pass interference, it's the right call, I would assume, down here. But I hate about the high school rules. They don't have an uncatchable pass rule in high school. That ball landed in lane 4 of the track. No way anyone could catch that football.
And that's what they're going to say, half the distance. So it was, in fact, interference. Yeah. Moves the ball from the 24 down to the 12. And it will be 1st and 10 from just outside the 10-yard line.
So here, even an incomplete is a good thing for Grace Brethren. They get a positive play.
Two and a half minutes left, 26-7. It will be Grace Brethren. They hand it off. It goes inside the 10, down to about the 6-yard line. It will be a good gain of about 6, and 2nd and 4 awaits the Grace Brethren Lancers. You are watching the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Kent Brown and George Contreras here on the call from Griffin Stadium at Moorpark College. One wide receiver.
They just keep moving the chains.
Will be given to Witt. Witt crosses the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. A 2-yard pickup, 3rd and 4.
Good defensive play there by Moorpark.
3rd and 2, sorry.
So 3rd and 2. Even a field goal here would be fine for the way that things are going here for Grace Brethren. I know they want to get
I feel like you feed
touchdown.
number 6.
Oh, I think number 6 would be a wise choice down here.
Diggs and Witt are the two backs. It will be Diggs. Diggs crosses the goal line for the score. They went power over the right side, and Diggs levels a defensive back, dives into the end zone, and for the 3rd time tonight, Lontrell Diggs with a rushing score, and it's now 32-7, Lancers lead.
Big hole. Give credit to the offensive line. Diggs is a good, strong running back, but That time it was not so much about him as it was the offensive line just clearing a huge hole to let him walk in for another score.
Aranda on for the PAT. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is no good. Aranda misses his first PAT, but it still is. Grace Brethren 32, Moorpark 7, and this game was very hotly contested for most of the first half. But late stages of the second quarter and now this whole third quarter, it has been Grace Brethren, and a lot of it you have to give credit to the defense for forcing 3 turnovers.
Right. The physical nature of Grace Brethren football is here in the forefront. They are literally wearing down a very good Moorpark team. We've seen them play before and walked away very impressed with the way the Musketeers play. We talked about their great tradition over many, many years now. But this is a Grace Brethren squad that's big and physical and plays physical football. So they've pretty much forced their will upon the Moorpark team and taken advantage of every Moorpark mistake, which coming in, Coach Uzengay said they needed to score on every drive. Every drive would be precious for them, given the few opportunities that Grace Brethren gives you with the grinding style of play.
And their opening drive was their touchdown. It's their only score tonight is in the Moorpark's first drive of the game. It is Cronquist on the return this time as it was kicked away from Sandoval. Cronquist will cross the 20 to the 23-yard line, and that is where the Musketeers will start. And for Blake Sturgill, he's a kid. He's getting Division I looks. He's a guy that probably ends up somewhere in that FCS division, or FBS, I should say, whether it's Mountain West, Pac-12, or just Conference USA, you name it. A lot of schools are looking at him. We saw him look excellent against Simi Valley, and tonight it's been a little bit up and down. Sturgill, we know, is one of the best area quarterbacks, but I do think part of the reason tonight is that defensive line for Grace Brethren, specifically Stanley Taufu, has been in his face the entire second half.
Right. Stanley Taufu, Shwani Toya, and Sebastian Vega, the 3 defensive linemen, have just been attacking.
4 wide. Holland remains the running back. They throw the screen out to Holland. He will get past the 23 up to about the 24-yard line, a 3-yard pickup, and Grace Brethren will gladly trade at this point 3 yards for about 30 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, one of the things I'm very impressed with Grace Brethren, when I went to their practice on Wednesday, they spent about the first 20 minutes of practice doing a tackling circuit. Every player on their team, offense, defense, they all go through this tackling circuit. And what you're seeing here, they're getting some very nice swing passes. Moorpark is in the open field, but their players are running down, breaking down, and making sure tackles. They haven't missed too many tonight.
2nd and 7. It'll be Holland again. Holland has room on the left side, picks up the first down to the 34-yard line, a 10-yard pickup. Move the chains. Moorpark with the first down, and that time you take what the defense gives you. Holland, the sophomore tailback, showed the ability in the burst to get wide and then get the first down.
Right. That play, this little swing pass by the running backs, has been there all night for Moorpark. No one's really covering the back. They're just running over there, making a tackle as a secondary type issue. But they need to come up with some few other plays besides that one to get this thing going.
Clock is winding down. Just over 13 seconds left in the third. It will be Cronquist. Cronquist catches it inbounds at about the 32-yard line. Lost 2 yards, and that will be the final play of the third quarter. We will go to the fourth, and it is a 25-point lead. Grace Brethren extends their lead by 13 points in the third frame. We do want to remind you that tonight's broadcast is a product of the Ventura County Star, your local leader in high school sports for the county area. Visit subscribe.vcstar.com to see all of our special offers and sign up for a print or digital subscription by going to subscribe.vcstar.com. Kent Brown, George Contreras, here from Moorpark College. You are watching the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. We have on-field reporter Lauren Ledeen. We will be putting things up on vcstar.com all night. Follow us on Twitter at VCSPreps for the latest area scores. And let's go through. Let's check the area scores right now. Nordhoff leading Santa Clara 21-7. Oxnard leading Channel Islands by a 48-0 edge. Camarillo still holding a 28-14 lead over Bishop Diego here in the Camino League. Those are a few updates to give you. Westlake leading St. Bonaventure 25-7 heading to the third quarter. Santa Paula up 14-0 over Wainimi.
Well, I'm not sure when these two teams meet, but barring a miracle here, Grace Brethren should go on to win this ball game. And when they hook up with a currently undefeated Camarillo team for what should be the league championship, that's going to be quite a ball game.
Final week of the regular season for both squads, October 26th. Game will be here at Moorpark College, and we might very well be here for that one.
That should be a great football game.
We've seen Camarillo twice this year. They have been explosive on both sides of the football, and Grace Brethren looks the part tonight. 2nd and 12. Sturgill gets it out to Hilton. He will cross the 43, gets right near the sticks. Milton gets about 12 yards, needed 12, and move the chains as they approach midfield. That was a heady play by Milton, knowing where he was and getting that first down.
Well, and then again, they're a good football program. They know these types of things. These players are well coached, and they do a lot of the little things well. So that's no surprise to see Moorpark players doing something like that.
Sturgill from the gun. Holland remains the running back. It will be an inside pass, this time to Jake Matiko. And for the second time tonight, that play has been blown up. And normally when that happens, your line is one of the reasons why. And Sebastian Vega was a big part of that.
Right. I cannot stress enough how good, sure, and physical tacklers the Grace Brethren people are. One of the things that's been kind of fun to watch tonight is you get small programs like Grace Brethren. We'll talk a little bit after this play.
2nd and 10. Ball from the 44-yard line. Sturgill will take off. Sturgill has nothing going, picks up 1 yard, had to shake a couple tacklers just to get that yard. 3rd and 9.
Well, as I was starting to say, if you look back just about 10 years ago, the Grace Brethren program was an 8-man football program, and they were very good at that level. And eventually they made the decision to go up to 11-man. Again, they only got 305 kids in the school, so there's not a huge student body. And they played good, solid football at the lower divisions of CIF playoffs. And they've worked their way up to this level where now last year they won a CIF championship in Division 8. Here they are moved up to the Camino League this year, and they are performing every bit as well as they could hope.
Been very physical all night. On 3rd and 9, the pass is dropped by Noah Cronquist, and it will most likely force a punt, or maybe they just keep the offense on as you're down 25 here, knowing you need points here in the early stages of this quarter. And yes, no special teams are coming on, so Coach Huizinga making the decision, keeping the offense on the field, and it has been a very impressive night for the Lancers, but that physicality is shown on both sides. It's been very impressive to watch both sides dominate up front. 4th and 9, Sturgill back to pass. From inside his own 40, the ball gets hit, his arm gets hit on impact, and who else but Stanley Talfu in on the pressure, gets the elbow of Sturgill, and now you just hope Blake Sturgill isn't injured as he's slow to get up. And what a play by Talfu, coming from that right side, beating the tackle, and then getting the elbow as that ball kind of sputtered its way down.
Well, again, it's 4th down, and defensively you expect your player who's a defensive lineman going to USC to make a play in that situation.
And you know the offense is dropping back
Absolutely.
to pass.
This is just, pin your ears back and go get it. Which I hate to see as he wound up hitting Sturgill's arm as he was throwing, and that could lead to an injury. So you hate to see that part of it happen.
Yeah, they're going to check out Sturgill on the other side. He came off very slow getting up. On 1st down, it's going to be a pass. Maybe not what I would have expected on 1st down in this situation, but it does stay in bounds, picks up about 10 yards. They're going to give the 1st down, and it will be a 10-yard pickup on 1st down.
Well, there's two sides. This one would be, as well as they're running the football, just run it. But the other thing is, sooner or later, they're going to have to throw the football to win a football game. So this is, again, a situation where you can throw and work on some things during the course of this game. Again, the game's not completely out of hand, but it's certainly under your control.
10 minutes left from Moorpark College, the host of the Grace Brethren Lancers. And on 1st down, another completion, this one to Luke Stewart, the sophomore tight end. And they've targeted him maybe 3 or 4 times tonight. 6 foot, 175 pounds. So Stewart and Bennett have been the 2 top pass catchers tonight.
Right, and with as much blocking as they ask their wide receivers to do, it's nice to see them get a little bit of pat on the rear end, if you will, by getting it through passes, a few passes thrown their way.
1st and 10, ball on the Moorpark 25. Diggs is the running back. Montreal Diggs,
no,
it's not kept. It's going to be Zelli. Zelli ends up picking up about 6 yards as he fakes the handoff to Diggs and then goes towards the right side. And I think he confused some of the defense, and it was a good 1st down pickup.
He certainly confused a couple of the announcers up here in the booth. So yeah, that was a nice little pickup by him.
Yeah, I thought that was a definite handoff, and instead you have the quarterback Zelli going to the bottom of our screen here on the short side of the field.
And look, it's 2nd and 5 again. How often have we said that for their offense?
All night, basically, they've been either 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2. It's been ahead of the sticks. On 2nd and 5, the pass is in the end zone, incomplete. There is another flag down. Sandoval, the cornerback, a little bit physical with the wide receiver, and I believe it was Nate Bennett on that side. The big target, Nate Bennett, definitely a guy with a lot of size at 6'3", and it will be interference on Sandoval.
So for the second time, in the last 5 or 6 minutes, they've thrown 2 long passes, incomplete, out of bounds, but still with the PI, they get themselves a nice gain.
Was on the 19. They're going to move this ball all the way up inside the 10. Be marked off at the 9. 1st and goal for the Grace Brethren Lancers. Grace Brethren 5-2 on the season. We mentioned their 2 losses were close. They lost by 4 points and 3 points on the season. They opened the season losing to Antelope Valley 32-29. Then they had 3 consecutive wins, including a 1-point win over St. Margaret's. And then they lost by 4 points to Sierra Canyon. But if they win tonight, it will be 2-0 in the Camino League. Lone back is Henderson. They fake it to him, and it's thrown inside the 5. The tight end crossing towards the goal line. It will be marked just short. Avery Cook, the senior tight end, with a 9-yard pickup, and it's 2nd and goal from inside the 1. Well executed and a great throw and a good effort by Cook to pick up another yard or 2.
Nice reception, good tough type play. But down here, I would think we're looking at Mr. Diggs getting another shot.
No, I think Diggs is right now on the sideline.
Oh.
It looks to be Henderson in as the lead back.
Looks like Cook, who caught that pass, is coming off a little gingerly. He's limping a little bit. Again, he's the player who missed all of last season with a knee injury, so you hate to see him.
So we have Witt, and Henderson. They'll send Witt to the right side, and it will be Witt crossing the goal line for the touchdown. Witt gets the handoff and his first score tonight, and with 8:53 remaining, it's now a 38-7 lead in favor of the Grace Brethren Lancers.
Impressive drive again. Physical drive by and large. This is a good football team we're watching in the black and red today.
It's good to see Witt. He's been a guy tonight that's gotten a bunch of carries, but when they've been near the goal line, it's been either Henderson or Diggs, and Witt this time rewarded the senior with the score.
Nice to see that, absolutely. All of these backs have gotten a chance to carry the football in meaningful situations and picked up meaningful yardage.
PAT is good, and it is now a 32-point Grace Brethren lead as Moorpark, after their first possession, has remained scoreless since the end of the first quarter. 2:26 left in the first quarter was their last points, and this has been just an impressive effort from Grace Brethren. But I want to go back to not just the running backs, but how about the sophomore quarterback, Mikey Zelli? Starts as a true freshman, continues to be very good as a sophomore, and you see his passing. When they let him air it out, he does put it on the money a lot, or if he doesn't, seemingly he puts it in a position where only his guy can go up and get the ball. There haven't been any trouble throws from him tonight.
No, I think that the thing that's good about Zelli more than anything else is that he's a team-oriented guy. He's okay with handing off the football and letting these big guys run with it. He wants to win, and when he gets his chance to throw, like you said, he takes advantage of it. He's been doing a good job. I'm very impressed with him. When you consider he's only a sophomore, now a sophomore with a lot of playing experience, but still just a sophomore. He's doing a fine job.
Couple of score updates. Camarillo now leads Bishop Diego 35-14. Oaks Christian ahead of Newberry Park 41-0, and Buena still leads Rio Mesa 24-6 late in the third. This kick is going to go near Cronquist at the 10. It bounces away from him. Noah Cronquist catches it, and now will turn it to his right side, trying to get past a couple guys from the Lancers. And now there is a late flag thrown in the vicinity normally where holding would be called, but it was right where the tackle transpired. So we'll have to see what the officials call here. But a dangerous kick in that was a live football, and Cronquist was catching up to it as you had a bevy of Lancers trying to attack the football.
And the problem there for the returner, he probably ran 45 yards laterally to gain absolutely nothing. So and that sets up some potential negative blocks in the back, those kinds of things. And it looks like the penalty will be going against the Musketeers. So here we are at the 5-yard line to start a drive, down by this many points. Now, we both, coming into this game, thought this was going to be a very good football game. I don't think either one of us expected one team to be ahead by 38 points. This has been a real shock, but again, a tribute to the power and the ability and the well-coached schemes that these players from Grace Brethren have shown us.
32 consecutive points. It's now 39-7. Grace Brethren is separated in this ball game, winning the battle of the line of scrimmage. And for another possession, Moorpark starts deep in its own territory. Last time they started the possession from their own 5, it was a safety. Back to pass to Sturgill. He gets the pass off to London. London up past the 15, now closing in on the 25 and steps out of bounds. A big pickup for Drake London as he gets all the way to the 28-yard line, a 23-yard pickup, and he showed his ability there, not only catch the football, but then to be physical as he plowed through a couple defensive backs.
Now, London's has great potential, both as a football and a basketball player at SC. That was the kind of throw that you're looking at of the end zone. Just 1, 2, 3, throw that thing. Don't hold on to the ball. That's where we broke down earlier in the game and gave up a safety. But that was a well-thrown pass, good timing. And
throw it towards the sideline where only your receiver can make the play. You do not want to put it inside and have a DB come and run underneath and get the pick. On 1st and 10, it will be Michael Holland with the carry. Holland only a gain of 1 as the clock now winds close to 8 minutes left in this ball game. And for Grace Brethren, you win this game, you're 6-2, you're 2-0 in league play, and we mentioned potentially a huge showdown in a few weeks with Camarillo. But this has been, from start to finish, a really impressive effort. And running, passing, defense, special teams, you name it, they have been all over the field making plays.
And the only hope here is that Moorpark continues with their traditional MO. They are usually a very classy outfit. We hope that the frustration levels of tonight's performance doesn't start causing some chippy play.
5 wide, and on this play, there's going to be a bump in the defensive secondary. No call.
Oh, my.
I'm going to say the Grace Brethren defense may have got away with one there. I guess they're going to say incidental contact, but on that play, it certainly looked like contact one way or another, and instead, no flags are thrown. Well, now the officials are discussing it.
Considering the 2 pass interferences that were called against Moorpark earlier in the game on similar type things, which I thought were kind of incidental, that looked like a pretty obvious hit on by the Grace Brethren player.
And you're right in front of the Moorpark.
And we got an unsportsmanlike call on Moorpark now, dead ball.
So how about that?
And that's the frustration we were talking about.
Moorpark not only maybe doesn't get the penalty call, but then unsportsmanlike afterwards, knock him back 15 yards. And so they'll be backed up inside their own 15, and instead of 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 9, you're looking at what will probably be about 3rd and 24. For Moorpark, if they were to fall in this game, which is looking pretty likely at this point, Moorpark will fall to 5-2. Their remaining schedule after tonight, they have Camarillo next week at Moorpark, then it's Bishop Diego, and then at Newberry Park to close their season. Ball is backed up to the 15 after the unsportsmanlike penalty. It'll be 3rd and 24 for Moorpark, led by Blake Sturgill. It's also good to see him back in the game after taking that shot last possession on his elbow.
Very definitely.
We have not seen Alec Powell, so not sure if that's an injury or what has transpired, but Alec Powell, the senior tailback, has not played this entire second half. It's been all Michael Holland. On 3rd and 24, Sturgill will throw a crossing route. It is complete to Milton. Milton up to the 23-yard line, so he gets back 8 yards, but well short of a first down, and now 4th and very long coming up for the Musketeers. Good defense there. You just hope the guy doesn't break it, and he didn't, and now they'll send in the special teams and concede the punt.
Right, they've got a nice 10, 12-yard game, but in that situation when it was 3rd and 25, that's a good football play by the defense.
Moorpark will now send their punt returner, Troy Hothan. He goes from corner to punt returner as he will line up at about his own 40. It's another low snap. Sturgill's able to get it off and just sort of sidewinds it past the 50. It now is going to bounce at the 43-yard line where it will ultimately be downed. So that ends up being about a 34-yard punt with no return. Grace Brethren takes over up 32 with 6:40 remaining.
Looking for a lot of runs here, I would think.
You would imagine so.
Yeah, just get us all home and get us to Cronies a little bit earlier than normal, and we'll all be happy.
32 unanswered so far for Grace Brethren, and it has been an impressive second half. It was 19-7 at the break, and instead of Moorpark going down, they needed a score. They end up not getting it, and that big turnover in the end zone, I think, really was maybe the nail in the coffin. And after that, you just seen Grace Brethren dominate from that point on. On first down, they come out passing, and of course, they pick up a first down as Luke Stewart makes another grab.
One of the big keys here with the ability to grind is that, if I'm not mistaken, Grace Brethren has not had a turnover in the game.
Correct.
So that's a big plus for them. And Moorpark, the other side of the coin, now we've thrown, 2 interceptions in the end zone. We had the safety. I think we had 1 fumble as well. So
anytime, I think tonight, Grace Brethren has less punts than Moorpark has turnovers. When that happens, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
On first down, it is Diggs. We haven't seen him for a little while. It was more Witt and Henderson getting some carries last possession. Lontrell Diggs, of course, 5.5, second and medium. We also want to give a baseball score update. It is the Dodgers leading the Braves 3-0 in the top of the ninth. So the Dodgers trying to get that divisional series win at Dodger Stadium here tonight.
You notice on Diggs on that last carry, again, smart young man, 2 hands on the football, does not want to turn the ball over even though they have the big lead. He knows what the situation is here. Get 5 yards and stay in bounds.
2nd and 4, officially a 6-yard gain. I formation with the fullback, Diggs the tailback, and they will throw wide open at the 30, now inside the 20, down to the 13-yard line, a pickup of about 30 yards. And that time the defense was fooled. They thought the run was coming, and instead they just send a crossing route. Luke Stewart picks up another big gain.
And again, you can't say enough about Zelli. He's a good thrower. They don't ask him to do it too often, but when he does, he's on the money.
First and 10, ball on the 12. 39-7 with 5:10 remaining. It's going to be a handoff to Witt. Will be a short gain of only about 2 yards. Also, if you're interested in that Dodgers game tonight, first of all, it might be 2 games not allowing a run. Clayton Kershaw, who has been much maligned for his playoff performances over the years, 8 innings pitched tonight, only 2 hits allowed and no earned run. So Kershaw on the baseball field showing up pretty well here tonight for the Dodgers.
Probably a little upset about not getting the start last night, I would think, too. They kind of got his competitive juices flowing.
Yeah, that could motivate any top-tier player. It's going to be a timeout on the field, and I want to remind you our sponsor is Ventura Orthopedics. They offer state-of-the-art technology to ensure their patients receive the best care available. Always staying abreast at the latest developments in orthopedic medicine, the doctors and surgeons have been among the first in the community to perform many advanced orthopedic treatments, including total hip replacement. Learn more at Ventura Ortho today and let them help you get back in the game. Visit VenturaOrtho.com or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280.
Moorpark's got the ball now. Let's see what they can do.
Moorpark ball. It's going to be Cronquist on the left side. Incomplete as they intend to throw it towards his side. He was defended very well by Troy Hothen.
When things don't go well, they just don't go well. That's a play they've completed quite often, and not that time.
4:30 remaining, a 32-point edge, 32 unanswered after it was 7-7 at the end of the first quarter. Sturgill remains the quarterback, 4 wide. It will be Holland. Holland has it, and he is met at the line of scrimmage. The defensive line rises up again with a big stop, and it was all 3 bodies in there. Talfu, Toya, and Vega, and I believe it was the big man, Soani Toya, who made the impact play and really just suffocated Holland in the backfield.
The impressive thing by this Moorpark, I should say of this Grace Brethren defensive front is Moorpark has a pretty good offensive line, and their 2 tackles have shown to be very good football players, but they've had a hard time handling these 3 down linemen.
Sturgill back to pass on 3rd and 12, almost intercepted. It was Kai Tinker, the outside linebacker, read the quarterback, nearly was able to haul in the interception. Unable to, it will be 4th and 12, and punt again for Moorpark as the Grace Brethren defense holds again. They've had an A-plus performance.
No question. There's no place tonight you can say that they haven't had an A-plus performance. Their special teams have been solid. Their defense is playing great. Their offense has been under control the whole time. Just a very, very impressive performance by this.
Sturgill punting from his own end zone. Gets caught at the 35. No fair catch as the return man, Troy Hothen, crosses the 35 to about the 33-yard line. 3:44 remaining. 39-7 is the lead. And now we wonder if maybe we'll see some of the backups come in for this team. And it does look like they are sending out a bunch of the backups here for Grace Brethren. Nope, they're going to still send out a few of the starters. Mikey Zelli remains in the game at quarterback, the sophomore, and he has been really a passing threat all game. But this half, they've passed way more than we would have thought, and it's been very effective.
It certainly has been. I'm very impressed by him as a thrower.
On first down, goes inside handoff, a short gain for about 2 yards. Probably one of the shorter gains they've had all night.
My gosh, it's going to be 2nd and 8?
Yeah.
Unheard of.
2nd and 8.
No, maybe, yeah, about 8.
One final score, Oaks Christian remains undefeated, and they get their first win in the Marmonti League, defeating Newberry Park tonight. Newberry Park drops to 3-4. Also, Oxnard wins over Channel Islands. They improve to 5-2 on the season. Channel Islands drops to 1-6. A couple other scores. Buena leads Rio Mesa 24-6 at the end of the third quarter, and Nordhoff leading Santa Clara 28-7 after 3. On 2nd and 8, no gain as they give to one of the backup tailbacks, Jaden Hammer. That's a great name for a running back in this system. Right. And that was his first carry of the game, the sophomore running back. And if he's somebody who eventually works his way into the starting lineup in a year or two, that's going to be a great name for the type of system Coach Henderson runs.
And here's something you can tell your grandchildren about someday. We just saw them have a negative yardage play. I think it's the first one they've had all game. Lost a yard on that play.
Lost a yard on the carry. And outside of any sort of penalties, this has been the only time they've gone backwards on offense. 3rd and 9, just over 2 minutes remaining. It was a high snap, and Zelli keeps it. Zelli goes up past the 30, gets out of bounds. With 2:01 remaining, that does stop the clock. But you don't want to see your quarterback get hurt there. At this situation, they're going to wind the clock back. So it does seem like they will kind of concede a running clock here in the last couple minutes. But Zelli's been very good all night. There, you kind of take what the defense gives you. There's no reason to take an extra shot.
No, absolutely
32
not.
Points. They will send the kicker in, so it will be Kevin Aranda, the senior. He kicks off, he punts. They have only had to punt twice tonight. This will be a 45-yard attempt. Snap is back, the kick is up, and it will be short. And with 1:29 remaining, the Moorpark Musketeers will take over. A stopped Grace Brethren for the second consecutive possession, but they're down 32 with just 89 seconds left.
And too much. Just Grace Brethren has just come prepared to play, and they've just got too much power, too much physical play on all sides of the ball as they like to do. They've come out and they've snatched this win, no question about it. They've earned it. Yes,
this has been from start to finish a well planned out performance, a well executed performance, and a really big league win. You mentioned never played each other. This is a home game for them, but they're playing in Moorpark's hometown, and yet they've been the better team tonight at Moorpark College, dominating. And one of these linebackers, Justin Skidmore, just went up for a tackle for loss, and he threw Holland down on the ground. Skidmore and Henderson have been excellent at inside linebacker. The D-line could be an MVP of this game. Mm-hmm. Stanley Talfu has been tremendous. And then on the back end, they just haven't been able to – they really haven't been a factor tonight in terms of us calling their names, but there hasn't been any open receivers downfield most of this game. We've seen London have a few nice catches, but nothing that's beaten them deep for 50 or 60 yards.
London has been probably the best performer for Moorpark's offense, but they really haven't been able to get anything going on any kind of consistent basis.
Under a minute remaining, Sturgill back to pass. Sturgill will be pressured, and Sturgill gets rid of it just as he's hit. There is a late flag, so that will be either roughing the passer or a late hit, and that time it was the defensive end, Talfu, coming in, and Sturgill's gotten beat up quite a bit in the second half. He keeps getting up, he keeps performing, but he has definitely taken a bunch of shots here in the second half.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if we might want to live to play another day. This game is definitely over. You might want to save your quarterback from taking any more unnecessary hits.
Especially when you're 84 yards away from the end zone.
Right.
They will tack off 15, so it's now up to the 31. But, yes, with a junior quarterback and Camarillo next week waiting, probably just want to get him out and limit the amount of hits he takes, especially here, as you said.
Yeah, there's
32-point deficit with 37 seconds remaining.
Right.
Under center is Sturgill. You would think here they probably run the football, and that might be it. It is Holland. He gets met at the line of scrimmage. Very fitting of how this game has gone, where on one end you're seeing physicality, you're hitting the guys at the line of scrimmage, and on the other end, all night we saw positive gains from this Grace Brethren's Lancers team, and the clock winds down under 15 seconds. That will be our final play of this ball game. 32 points unanswered. Grace Brethren improves to 6-2 on the season, 2-0 in the Camino League. Moorpark falls to 5-2, and now 1-1 in the Camino League. Moorpark next week, they get Camarillo. As for Grace Brethren, they'll get Thousand Oaks. So upcoming, trying to improve to 3-0 in league play. George, final thoughts. I just think it's been a great effort, but really the line of scrimmage all night. I want to give credit to the 8 guys in their lines. Talfu, Toya, and Vega on the D-line. And then on offense, Taivai, Toya, Clock, Cardillo, and Alba. All 8 of those guys were excellent.
Impressive. Just an impressive performance. I'm sure wherever Coach Dick Bruick of Fontana is right now, he'd have a smile on his face seeing his protege, Josh Henderson, producing a team that plays that same style of football that the old Fontana Steelers were known for during the 70s and 80s. Just a great physical performance. If you like old school football, you want to come watch Grace Brethren play. They play football the way Vince Lombardi intended it to be played. Great performance.
George Contreras, Kent Brown here. You have been watching the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week from the Ventura County Star. We want to thank our producer, Anthony Placencia, also Lauren Ledeen, our on-field reporter. Make sure to go to vcstar.com, check out his post-game report as he reports on this game, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of good comments about this Grace Brethren team. Signing off from Moorpark College, this has been the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. Final score, Grace Brethren 39, Moorpark 7.
He's going to get that back next week against T.O.